Samsung joined the big players this year, launching a watch designed for the extreme outdoors. But how does it compare to the properly serious outdoor watches from Garmin? I'm Cam Bunton, this is Trusted Reviews, and in this video I'm going to compare it to the Garmin Fenix 8 to find out. Now, it's safe to say Garmin and Samsung have quite different ideas on how to design a smartwatch. Garmin, particularly with its Fenix range, has long been about that rugged, durable look with exposed screws on a steel or titanium plate that look like they can take a beating. Samsung's generally look more like it's been made by a consumer tech company. While we all have our own opinions about what looks best, both of them are designed to be durable and last in almost any conditions. So whether you're hiking through a rainstorm or high altitudes, diving in the sea or in the baking hot desert, these watches should cope with pretty much all of it. Where Garmin has an advantage that even just looking at this range, it has multiple different styles and features and sizes of watch. So there are 43, 47 and 51mm versions. Some of them have AMOLED displays, some of them have memory and pixel displays, some of them have solar charging. Samsung has one size of Ultra and that's it, undoubtedly because it needed to make a bigger battery in it to make it last more than a day. Now, weighing just the bodies themselves, the two watches are roughly the same weight and neither particularly light, but still comfortable enough to wear for long periods without any discomfort. And despite its pretty hefty look, the Samsung watch is actually slimmer than the Garmin, but only by a millimeter or so. Both watches do come with the option for sapphire crystal glass on the front, which is more durable than your typical Gorilla Glass. However, Samsung's comes with that as standard. With Garmin, you need to pay extra for that, and to get a titanium faceplate instead of the stainless steel. Garmin hides a bit of a unique feature too, in that it's got an LED light built into the top edge so you can use it as a torch or a warning light. It has 4 levels of brightness plus the option to turn it red. Now, looking at displays, and as I mentioned, Garmin has a couple of different options here, but the model we're comparing is the AMOLED version. So in terms of color, brightness and sharpness, it's fairly similar to the Samsung's. Where it isn't similar is in refresh smoothness. So Garmin's animations seem more jittery and laggy compared to Samsung, likely in an attempt to save battery juice. Samsung also has an interface that's quite different, so you get full screen widgets for various bits of information that you swipe left to get to, plus the ability to launch into loads of different third-party apps. Garmin has what it calls glances, where it stacks this information in a list which you can scroll up and down and then select one to view the more full-screen data. Both are pretty easy to use, but Samsung is clearly the more visually rich. Both also have this night mode feature that dims the watch face and turns the details in the index into an easily visible bright orangish reddish color, so that you can see them clearly in the dark without using lots of energy. Now, what I like about the interface with Garmin is that while it does have that touchscreen for swiping through and controlling the watch, you don't have to use the touchscreen at all. The 5-button control system can be used to control the entire interface. You can scroll up and down options, select, go back, go home, all without having to swipe on the glass. Samsung is the complete opposite. The touchscreen is pretty much essential with Samsung. You can do some things with the buttons, including starting and stopping activities, assigning a shortcut to the quick button on the side, but a lot of the moving around the interface forces you to swipe on the glass. And that's not always convenient, and also means you're guaranteed to smear it up with fingerprint grease. I'd have loved to see Samsung build in a rotating crown or a bezel into this just to give another option for scrolling through lists and stuff, but sadly, it doesn't have that. Now, turning to fitness and health now, and Samsung's matches Garmin's pretty closely when it comes to accuracy of the data that it collects throughout the day and through your activities. Measuring similar distances, heart rate, pace, cadence, etc. to the Fenix. They weren't bang on identical, but it was a case of being 1 or 2 beats per minute out on heart rate, and maybe 20 or 30 meters out distance-wise on a 5 to 6k run. It is fairly typical when testing different watches on the same runs and routines to find these minor discrepancies though, so nothing here to really worry about. The important thing here is both of them have multi-band GPS frequencies. And so even when you get under trees or run in densely packed urban areas, you'll find the route and location tracking work about as well as it can on a wristwatch. When it comes to dedicated sports, Garmin has quite a lot of in-depth contextual data, whether you're golfing, climbing, mountain biking or running. So for multi-sport athletes who take part in all kinds of activities, there's still a sense that the Garmin will serve you better. But then both of them have lots of useful insights if you're a runner. Beyond the basic distance, pace, cadence, and heart rate, you get things like ground contact time, asymmetry, and other bits to help you keep an eye on your posture and form to see if it's improving, or for you to focus on and improve. The idea here is that you want to minimize your vertical movement, i.e. you're bouncing up and down, and also to make sure you're using each leg equally, not one more than the other. You want to stay balanced and efficient. Both watches can monitor this information. What I found more important to my experience using the watches was how their respective systems take that data and translate it into something that's useful. In this regard, I think Garmin's system is the best, purely because of its body, battery, training readiness, and recovery features. Samsung's energy score could be useful for some. This takes your previous day's activities, then uses your sleep data overnight to tell you in the morning how much energy you have for the upcoming day. But the problem is that unlike Garmin's features like body battery, it doesn't update throughout the day as you move around, and it tracks your motion, your heart rate, and your stress levels. With the Garmin watch or the app on my phone, I can see what my body battery is doing at that moment, and also check how much recovery I still need before I tackle another run or a workout. And if I'm having a particularly restful day, the Garmin updates that recovery, shortening it when it realizes I've had a really low movement day. At any time, I can go through the data on my wrist, see what my training readiness is too, which again uses things like body battery, sleep, stress, movement, and exercise to calculate what state my body is in and if it's ready to go. Samsung has some way to go before it's quite as good as what Garmin offers in that regard. Where Samsung has an advantage is it has more of those features that you would class as being smartwatch features. Or rather, it implements them in a way that's convenient and useful. For instance, with Google Pay and Samsung Pay available, you can add contactless payments on your wrist for pretty much any bank or credit card. Garmin Pay does enable this feature, but the list of banks and credit card companies that support it is a lot more limited. Being Wear OS also means being able to install a bunch of different third-party apps from the Play Store. So you can install apps like Strava and Nike Run Club for running, or even YouTube Music and Spotify for music. You can even install Messenger apps on your wrist. Garmin is a lot more limited here, although it does support Amazon Music, Spotify, and Deezer for offline playlists that you can listen to on your runs. Samsung's also gives you a bit more interactivity when it comes to replying and interacting with notifications. So you can reply to messages properly and not just use a bunch of different quick presets. You can type or dictate responses, as well as control smart home controls if you have that set up with Google Home. So Garmin is a lot more limited in that department, but the one thing Garmin does have in its favor is that it's platform agnostic. Samsung's watch only works with Android phones, and some features need a Samsung phone specifically. Garmin will work with iPhone or Android and get pretty much all the same features on both. But when it comes to battery life, whether just every day or tracking an activity, there's really no competition here. The Fenix 8, even with the always on display feature enabled so that it's always showing the time, will last a solid week on a full charge, even if you do activities every day. If you switch that off, you have it go to a blank screen until you raise your wrist, you'll get 2 weeks from it. The best you'll get from Samsung's watch is about 3 days, unless you kick it into extreme low power modes. And that's if you're being quite light with how you're using it. Most of the time where we tested it, it lasted between 2 or 3 days, but it wasn't consistent in that. Samsung's has wireless charging where Garmin doesn't. It still has that physical connector at the bottom that you have to click in a proprietary cable to use it. So in the end, there might just be one thing that makes your decision for you when picking one of these, and that's the price. Samsung's watch using UK pricing is about £525. Garmin's entry-level Fenix E costs £689, and if you want this AMOLED model I'm using, that's going to be nearly £900, and even more if you want the titanium and the sapphire glass. With that and the difference in feature sets, I think your decision is pretty simple. Get the Samsung if you want the smart features and the interaction, and you'll still get relatively reliable fitness information. However, as a fitness device, particularly for outdoor activities and a better, more contextual look at how your body is doing under stress, and a more holistic look at recovery and readiness, you really can't beat Garmin. But still, you can pretty much get all the same features that you get in the Fenix 8 by going with the Epix Pro Gen 2, which came out last year and is basically the same watch and will cost you less. Let me know what you think of these two watches in the comments down below. Are you more into the interactivity and smartwatch features of the Samsung, or the health and sports features of the Garmin? You can also get me on social media. I'm at Cam Bunton. If you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap that notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.